My name's Jim Evenson. I'm a lieutenant with the Rochester, Minnesota Police Department, and I have been a police officer for 27 years. All this time was spent with the Rochester Police Department. I have 5 children. They range from, well, right now, 29 to 15. My oldest is married with 3 children. My second daughter she's married and has 1 child. And I have 2 kids in college, and 1 is a sophomore in high school. And my wife works at Mayo Medical Center in Rochester, Minnesota. The life of a police family, it's a funny thing because when you talk to most police officers, they appear happy, they're making jokes, they just appear that we're having a lot of fun when we do our job. And for the most part, I'd say there is an aspect to that where the camaraderie we build with our fellow officers, and it's enjoyable. But I think a lot of the times there's a barrier, there's this wall that we put up because some of the things we have to do, some of the things we see, and some of the people that we deal with, it's hard to rationalize this behavior sometimes. And I think police officers generally become closed off to people in their lives, and that is, I think, what causes a lot of stress. It's very difficult to go home and talk to your wife about the 15-year-old kid that you saw earlier in the day who blew his head off with a shotgun. Those are images that you don't want to share with people that you love, and that's where I think a lot of the stress comes from. And police officers, we tend to put this macho image. So after we go on a call like that, it's not very easy to talk to your coworkers about how you felt about that. We tend to just be, we're macho guys and I can deal with anything I see. And that's really not the case, and we need to be able to deal with those issues and not just bury them. And for the most part, they get buried. I came to India, I think, for a variety of reasons. Honestly, one of the reasons was, well, it's India, and I've never been here, and it's got to be a very interesting experience. But of course, that's always been the case. But what caused me to come on this one was when I received the information from Mandar Apti about From India with Love. I thought this looks like an opportunity to see what I can do to help at least our little corner of the world. And I wasn't sure what to expect, and I didn't really have a very good idea coming in what I was going to get out of it. But I kind of took a leap of faith, and in having the email conversations with Mandar, he seemed to be very passionate about what he's doing with From India with Love, and I kind of thought, well, if he's that passionate, there's got to be something there for me to be able to help our community. So I decided to come. I think what I learned, the biggest thing I learned, I believe, is in order for us to be better people, we have to know ourselves, and we have to be centered in our own mind and comfortable with ourselves. And I think I've been able to learn more things about myself this trip than I really thought was possible. And I believe that'll help me in my personal life in dealing with issues that come up with my kids in marriage. And I really think it'll help in my professional life with dealing with things on the job that are sometimes hard to deal with, or even dealing with people I work with that are sometimes hard to deal with. I think those breathing exercises could be very beneficial after working a 8, 10, 12-hour shift, of being able to center yourself again, being able to be more in tune with yourself. I have been thinking about for the last couple of days of what exactly From India with Love means on a bigger scale. And I think it comes down to almost a one person at a time. And if I can start with me being a better person, being more in tune with myself, which makes me a better husband, a better father, a better police officer. If I can start with that, that starts the building blocks, one brick at a time as you build a building or build a road. And I think that's what I'll take away, that it all starts with one. And when you have one, then maybe you can have two, and then you can maybe have four, and get that growth going and spreading, and help decrease the violence in our society, you know, whether that's the violence in your mind or actions. A message that I would have for fellow officers, whether it's in Rochester, Los Angeles, Chicago, wherever there's lots of violence, is we need to start with ourselves. We need to be able to know ourselves and be comfortable with ourselves before we can really do a good job on the police department. And by understanding our human nature and by showing compassion to everything around us. So my message would be, get to know yourself. Find that place where you can be content with yourself, and you will be a better police officer.